Nicole from Nicole Loves. Welcome to the channel. I don't know why, but it feels like it's been a long time since I did a swatch and review. But here we are, I got a swatch review for you all today. So today's video is for the newest release from Essie. Well, I should say the newest release that's actually available in like my country from Essie. So today I have their Spring 2024 collection called Blushin Crushin. Since it is currently the middle of January, I don't actually have any official information for this release yet. So I have 6 polishes total to show you all today. These are a mixture of like pearlescents and creams. I'm sure you guys already guessed my feelings on that. So before we get into today's video, I got a couple of things to mention. And the first being, if you are new around here, hi, my name is Nicole. It's wonderful to meet you. Thank you very much for clicking on today's video. I open new videos on Tuesdays and Saturdays, and I go live every single Sunday. Feel free to hit subscribe if that sounds of interest to you. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. How are you doing? How's everyone's week going? I am getting ready to have my channel members live stream happening in just a few minutes, so let's get moving. So I did purchase e-polishes from Ulta, I think I got these from. I'll have links in the description box to where I can find this available, but again, it's January, so there aren't a ton of places just yet, but they'll be coming soon. I'll also have links to the Essie website and social media pages, my social media pages, as well as a link to my blog post on NicoleLovesNails.com, where I host all of my swatch photos, as well as provide a written review. And of course, timestamps are down there as well. Let's just get into this video. Alrighty, so I do not have official descriptions for any of these polishes yet, so we're gonna have to go with some very lackluster descriptions. So first up we have First Kiss Bliss, which is a very pale pastel green cream. First Kiss Bliss had about as good of a formula as I was expecting. I generally find super pale pastels to be a little uneven, a little finicky in application, and I found this one did feel that way to me. However, I also do fully recognize that I kind of went into swatching this one with very low expectations.
Here we go again.
I just generally don't like colors like this. I usually find that the formulas are chalky, uneven, streaky, with the exception to neon pastels. I just don't find that the streakiness, unevenness, and all that is really worth it to me to build them up into 3 coats. Did have some dark spots on my nails with this one in 2 coats, so I will call it a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. On me, I found this one had a very slight cool / blue tone look to it, which I didn't hate, but I just don't like pastels, so this one was a pass for me. But like, if you like pastel greens, I wouldn't say this one was terrible. Now we have Tulips Touch, which I'll describe as a slightly muted pastel blue cream. Tulips Touch had a pretty nice formula. On that first coat, it was a little bit uneven, a little bit streaky, but I did find it built up perfectly for me in only 2 coats. I didn't have any dark spots or anything, self-leveled perfectly. Like I said a second ago, I am not generally the biggest lover of pastel creams. Like, they're just
Boring!
I find them a little bit boring, but I did like this very, very slight mutedness that this polish had. I honestly don't think the mutedness in here really photographed, or I guess recorded, very well. In person, there did seem to be like the teeniest droplet of gray in the polish itself. This also dries down a little bit darker than it looks in the bottle. So that is Tulips Touch in 2 coats plus glossy top coat, super easy removal, no issues with staining. And now we have Blushin Crushin, which I'll describe as a bright pink. Blushin Crushin had a fantastic formula. Application and coverage were also both fantastic for this one. This is a very bright pink. It's not a neon pink. I wouldn't go so far as to call it like a pink. I really like how saturated this color is. Like, it has that kind of look to it that's kind of like, ooh, like squishy, juicy, that kind of look that some creams have. This one definitely has it. But there's just something about this tone, the shade, something about this color, I don't like it, and I can't put my finger on what it is exactly about this one that I'm just not loving. So that is Blushin Crushin in 2 coats plus glossy top coat, super easy removal, no issues with staining. And now we're heading into the more pearlescent finishes in this release. This first one is called Flirty Flutter. I will describe this one as a sheer dusty rosy pink with a blue shimmer. This is a fairly sheer polish, so you're going to want to build this one up to get the most opacity. Even after building it up in 3 coats, you will still have some visible nail line with this one. If for some reason I didn't flat out hate pearlescent polishes and I wanted to wear one in my, free time, I think I probably would just wear this one in 2 coats and not bother building it up in 3. I don't feel like you get a big enough difference in depth of opacity with this between 2 coats and 3 coats to justify doing a third. Personal preference is a thing. This went on for a couple of hours, and the longer I had it on, the less I hated it, which I was kind of surprised about. I like the contrast in color difference between the shimmer as well as in the base color. Brush strokes also aren't nearly as obvious as I initially thought they would be. You really have to look for them on the nail to see them. That is Flirty Flutters in 3 coats plus glossy top coat. Super easy removal, no issues with staining. And now we have Spring Fling, which is a medium pink with what I think is like a peachy kind of shimmer. I don't want to call it golden, but it's somewhere in that peach to gold area. Spring Fling had a fantastic formula. It was a little bit thicker than I was personally expecting, but I wouldn't say that the polish itself is thick. The shimmer in here does show some very obvious brush strokes, so if that kind of thing bothers you, you're either going to want to sponge on your final coat, skip the polish altogether, or just be mindful of your brush strokes when you're doing your final coat. I am not a fan of this polish at all, to be honest. It feels a little too old-timey for me.
I've fallen and I can't get up.
And I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way. I just feel like a lot of vintage polishes that were pink and had shimmer kind of had this overall vibe to it, and it's just not the vibe that I like. I will admit though, I almost liked how this one looked when I brought it outside to see it in the sunlight. Anywho, I'm going to call this one a 2 to 3 coater depending on personal preference. If you don't mind obvious visible nail line, it's definitely possible in 2 coats. My photos do show it in 3 coats plus a glossy top coat. And the final polish is called Meet Cute Moment, which I'll describe it as a peachy coral polish with a golden shimmer. I honestly wanted to hate this one. Y'all know, I do not really care for pearlescent polishes. I don't want to see brush strokes in my shimmer, but this one has gold in it, and I was just like,
I love gold!
Man, that is a pretty gold. You know, I'm very predictable in what colors and finishes get me and which ones don't. You throw some gold into something and I'll immediately show some more interest. I will say though, this reminded me a lot of OPI's Data Peach from last year's spring collection. I'll have a comparison coming up after all of this though. I don't think they're actually dupes though. So I swatched Meet Cute Moment in 2 coats plus glossy top coat. Again, I did have some brush strokes with this one. I think for the most part, this one is going to be a solid 2 coater. Maybe some people might need a 3rd coat, but I don't think it's likely for most people. And here is that comparison I mentioned earlier with OPI's Data Peach. I feel like I like the Essie a lot more, honestly, but yeah, not dupes. And also for comparisons, I don't know who told Michelle that the polishes in this release are similar to Holo Taco's Encryption Key. They're not. Whoever said that is a lie. These are not anything like those. These are pearls, that's a shimmer, end of story. Alrighty, so final thoughts. In general, I'm not usually a huge fan of spring releases. Like, I usually find them pretty damn boring, to be honest. So as far as spring releases go, I think this was okay. Like, I know I'm not the target audience for any of these polishes, so like, I don't know, it's okay. It's okay for a spring release. Like, I don't like pastels, I don't like pearlescents, so there wasn't a ton in this release that really got me going too much, honestly.
It was my cup of tea.
But I don't think it was a bad release at all. I'm not gonna pick a top pick because nothing in here really wowed me enough to say, yeah, I want to wear that again, so I'm not picking a top pick. Sorry. So I'd love to know what everyone else thought of this release. You planning on picking it? Have you already picked it up? You know the drill. I'd love to know. Before we end today's video, I want to give a very special shout out to my channel members, Shenanigan. Just thank you guys so very much. Your names, of course, are all on the screen right now. As always, if you'd like to sign up for channel memberships, there's a link for that in the description box, or you can click join next to the subscribe button, but you know, no pressure at all. So just thank you for joining me for today's video. I know I went through this pretty damn fast, but it's because I'm not super interested in it, to be honest. So thank you for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll have links popping up on the sides of the screen if you want to watch some more videos from me, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!
When I get high, I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Bry. Yeah, I'm headed to the Bucks, then I'm ballin' like yeah. I ain't looking at the clock, still ballin' like Bry.